Welcome to Ask the Expert with noted radio host Steve Sleeper. Each week, Steve interviews entrepreneurs and professionals and shares their intriguing stories of success and service. Now, here's radio veteran Steve Sleeper.
And our guest today is Alan Poucher with Alan L. Poucher Jr., PA. He's an estate planning attorney in Jacksonville, Florida. Alan, how are you today?
I'm good, Steve. Thanks for calling.
Well, great. Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself and your firm.
Well, Steve, we're a small law firm. Some people call what we do a boutique law firm. We handle elder law, estate planning, probate guardianship, and some disability help for our elderly and veteran friends. Medicaid planning is part of what we do. Veterans Administration benefits and Social Security are part of what we do. And so we handle that spectrum of the legal community and have been doing so intensively for the last 15 years.
Alan, tell me, what is elder law? I know that's something you're an elder attorney, so talk about that.
Well, Steve, elder law is an area of the law that has been defined, I would say, for about 10 or 15 years in the state of Florida as covering the unique issues which face our aging population. As you may know, here in Florida, we have a number of folks who are over the age of 60 or 65 years old. Many have come into Florida. And the unique areas of the law which face that population are grouped into a heading called elder law. Many of the topics and many of the areas of law and issues that are covered have to do with the growing incapacity or inability to live independently, the increasing cost of the options for our clients and friends who are facing some type of long-term care or some type of increasing cost of care, and we help them select options, help them protect themselves, maintain their own personal right to choose and integrity. And if they're not able to maintain that, we help them make their decisions well known to the folks who are going to help them with the decision making in the future when they're not able to make decisions for themselves. We also work with families who are trying to plan for a loved one who may be at the point where they're transitioning into non-independent living status, and those families have a special need for immediate help from us, and we're often called in to help sort of mop up the problems that transition creates.
So why would a person need an elder law attorney?
Well, Steve, when we look at elder law as a topic, we look at a different set of issues and a different set of parameters than, say, an estate planning attorney would look at, because our clients are primarily folks who are looking ahead toward transitioning into less independent living situations, toward paying for their cost of care as that care rises, and some of them may end up in nursing homes, so the cost of care can be astronomical if you live on a fixed income and you haven't prepared yourself for what may beset you at this time of life. Then that planning and knowing the alternatives and the options for paying for this type of care, for planning for it, and for setting yourself up so that you're not made almost penniless by the cost of this care, is a unique type of practice of law, and we have to consider that in every decision we make for our client base, because elder law deals with that as its primary focus. What is going to be the end result for this client, and how do we best prepare them to proceed to the very end of life? So our issues and the questions that we have to ask ourselves and our clients are somewhat different than a law firm that just focuses on estate planning.
Exactly. Well, tell me, what are the options with long-term care?
Well, long-term care is a type of insurance. Let me define it first. Long-term care is a type of insurance which provides for care either in the home or skilled care in the home when someone is becomes more dependent and less independent. And that care can range from companion care, which is just having someone there to help with cooking, light cleaning, companionship, all the way to skilled nursing care. And then as one transitions, because they're not safe to live in their home or they don't have the ability to either hire or secure or have a family caregiver, they may need to be in a more structured living situation. And so long-term care is an option to keep the person at home for as long as they possibly can safely. Now, long-term care insurance is very expensive. It needs to be secured before the person reaches 65 or 70 years old, or it may not be available at all. If you attempt to get long-term care after you're already plagued with a disease which may follow you for the rest of your life, it may be impossible to get that type of insurance. So if you're unable to pay for your long-term care out of pocket, which would be the cost of these caregivers either coming into your home or living in a less independent living situation, then the options would be to try and rely on government benefits. Now, to take a step back, the best plan is to insure for it. If you haven't or can't insure for it, then the next best plan is to determine a method of procuring it at home for as long as possible and as inexpensively as possible. And if that's not an option, you may be either spending your assets down in order to qualify for one of the government benefit plans, such as Medicaid or a VA pension type of monthly support, which then helps cover the cost of this care. And the options for the government benefits are that VA is, if you have a husband or a spouse or a wife who is a veteran, you may qualify for some of this long-term care support through the Veterans Administration pension. It's called the Aid and Attendance Program or the Homebound Aid and Attendance Program. And these programs help pay for the cost of the care. There's also the Medicaid program, which is for non-veterans. It's for everyone in our society who reaches the age of 65, needs either consistent in-home care, which includes skilled nursing, or has to go into a nursing home or a memory care type of facility. And the Medicaid program would then pick up a portion or all of the cost of that type of institutional program or that in-home care based on your income and finances and assets. So as we look at the cost of these things and we look at the options of the long-term care, many of these options almost require you to spend down all of your money in order to qualify for the programs. The Medicaid program has an asset limit of $2,000 and an income limit of $2,199 now, and those two limits are often difficult to meet for families. And so part of what we do is show families how to still qualify for these benefits by rearranging their assets and by moving their loved one into one of these facilities if that's what's necessary. So to recap, you may need to spend your assets down. You may need to adjust your income or place it into some kind of a trust. You may need to seek this care before you reach a nursing home or an assisted living facility. And we help families plan for that possibility, and we also help families qualify for it if their relative has been stricken with a catastrophic medical event that causes them to need to go into one of these facilities without any warning. So these two types of approaches are called a proactive approach in advance, or then we have the catastrophic planning approach where someone has to move into one of the facilities immediately. So we go through this process with our clients and suggest that everyone seek out an elder law attorney in order to plan for this, to discuss long-term care insurance, talk to a financial advisor about how best to structure their assets, how best to insure themselves against this problem. And we work with many financial advisors who are very well versed in the types of long-term care insurance which is offered in the marketplace. And we deal with a lot of people who have also gotten to the point where their family member has this catastrophic need because they're facing $8,000 or $9,000 of cost at a nursing home in the next 30, 60, 90 days. So we prefer to do the planning proactively, Steve, but many times there's a catastrophic event that prevents that. And so we then rally the forces together, bring in a financial analyst who can help us with some of the investment opportunities and put a person's funds in an investment which may not count against them for Medicaid purposes or for VA purposes, and then we get them qualified. So the family's not spending $8,000 or $9,000 a month on the long-term care in a nursing home.
This is great information, Alan. Is there anything else we need to know?
Well, the best advice that I can give you, Steve, is that if your mom and dad have not talked to an elder law attorney to find out what the requirements are to qualify for appointing someone to make financial or medical decisions for them and planning for what may happen catastrophically in the future. And this doesn't mean everyone has to go through a complete overhaul of everything they own, but by talking about it with an elder law attorney and by seeking the advice of someone who is experienced and well-versed in these legal issues in your state, you can always better prepare yourself. And I urge every family member to also think about what happens to me when I get to be mom and dad's age, because it's never too early to start looking at these issues, especially if long-term care insurance is going to cost you 1/10 today of what it would in 15 years. It may be worth investing in it today. It's all a matter of seeking the advice of licensed and experienced professionals in this area, both financial planners and elder law attorneys, and get a program put together so that you and your family don't have to worry about this for mom and dad or for yourselves.
Absolutely. And you're in Jacksonville, Florida. How can we reach you, Alan?
Well, Steve, I'm in the Riverside area of Jacksonville, Florida, and quite frankly, I moved in this area to do real estate and elder law, and I did that when a good friend of mine was stricken with a blood clot in his brain, and the hospital kept him alive for 2.5 years in order to prevent themselves from being sued. I decided that it was time for me to focus on this kind of law, and I moved into a historic district, which is the Riverside Avenue area of Jacksonville, and my phone number is 904-389-2200. You can see our website at Poucher Law, and also please contact me by my email, which is apoucher@poucherlaw.com. And we have a lot of information on our website. It describes some of the areas that we practice in, and just a thumbnail sketch of some of the issues that our clients have faced. So contact us, but if you don't contact us, please contact someone who can help you with these issues.
And our guest today, Alan Poucher. He's an elder law attorney in Jacksonville, Florida. Alan, thanks very much.
Thank you, Steve, and thanks for the opportunity to talk to your listeners.
You bet.
Thanks for listening to Ask the Expert with Steve Sleeper. Join us next time as entrepreneurs and professionals share their intriguing stories of success and service.